All right. Well, that was a horrible trip to New York for the Cleveland Cavaliers, losing both to a raucous New York crowd. All the celebrities were out, and the Cavs didn't necessarily show up. Drew, let's go to you first here. Man, bad weekend. We've got a home game coming up here. We've got to turn it around from 3-1. We've seen that before, but I don't know. Are you keeping it positive here?
Well, fond memories of 3-1, certainly. Am I keeping it positive? I'm trying. I have tickets for the game on Wednesday. I am unable to attend, but if anybody wants to go, hit me up. Um, there are some things you can look at from the close games. Game 4, when they lost by 9 in New York. Game 1, when they lost by 4 points at home. In those games, those close games, in Game 4, Donovan was 5 for 18 from the field. He was 0 for 4 from 3. Darius in that game, he shot 11 for 20 from the field. These are not great numbers from two usually very good shooters. In game 1, Darius was a little better, albeit on more limited volume. He was 7 of 13 from the field, 2 out of 4 from 3. But again, Donovan, not a great game. He was 14 of 30. That is not a super efficient game, a decent amount of points, but not the most efficient scoring. He was 6 of 16 from 3. He just was jacking up triples, and when those went in, the Cavs were right in the game, and when they weren't, they got beat. So if he has had 3 bad games, unfortunately, and now we need him to have 3 good games in a row. And when he has a good game, I don't think the Knicks have an answer for him, as we saw in game 2. So as these things often do in basketball, it comes down to your best player. And if your best player doesn't, or best players, but certainly in the Cavs case, if he doesn't have a good game, they're not going to beat this team. So that's the thing I sort of look at on the positive end, right? There have been 2 close games where Donovan brought his, this is on a bit of a bell curve here, but for him, relatively speaking, his C plus, B minus type game, and they were right in it. So that's the thing that I sort of hang my hat on, is that, okay, when he's been good, when he's been his usual self, they have won. It's just, we're out of time now. He has to have his best game for 3 games in a row in order to see the next series. And judging by the last couple of games in New York, that is a tall order.
Going back home, it's another what if series. You go back to game 1, you win game 1, it's a 2-2 series, totally different. You have to win these home games. I think I go back here. I think the Cavs were at 75 all right around this point in the game, and the Knicks stretched the lead pretty close here, and just the crowd was on fire the entire day there on Sunday. Not the Cavs' best finish to a game. But I guess, Eric, let's go back to you here. What do we do in game 5? We want Donovan, we want Darius to get hot going into game number 5 here. Is there anything else that you look at of how do we turn this around?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that first came to mind is the backcourt scoring. Obviously, we need points to win, and we have not been putting up many points. In addition to that, it's the forecourt not really flexing their muscles, I guess. Jared Allen has been habitually trashed in the media for not playing physically well. He came off with 4 rebounds last game. There were plenty of opportunities to get rebounds in many of these games, a lot of missed shots, and he has come away with very few. Obviously he could have those easy putbacks and get those scores underneath, which would be helpful, but what he needs to is kind of facilitate this offense, cut their offensive performance down so we could get transition points. And Evan Mobley, unfortunately, my original diagnosis of the 1, 2, 3, 4 kid has not been coming coming to where I wanted. He's been okay in spurts. He hasn't been scoring as well either. He hasn't been facilitating. He hasn't been doing what we had expected from him in his first playoff series. I mean, hopefully this is just a learning curve and he'll get better within time. But he's been underwhelming as well. And then finally, I guess you have to look at that 3 position and what JB Bickerstaff's done, taking out Okoro, putting in Levert. Levert had a great game 2 off the bench. Other than that, he's been put in the starter role. He's been okay. And then, looking at that, then our bench has been even depleted more than it has been already with fewer points. I mean, maybe Danny Green can have an coming out party, I guess. I don't know. Just have an explosion of points just out of the blue. But I think the Cavs can win game 5 at home. They need some better scoring. They don't need lights out scoring. They don't need lights out forecourt play. But if they want to win this series, they're going to have to play their best game easily of the series and one of their better games of the season to win the series, and especially game 6. So it's going to be all hands on deck. I'm hoping they can get whatever lineup they need to correct. And most importantly, hit their shots timely and, kind of keep them off the glass. That's what they did in the second game. And that's they were out physicaling them. And that's what they did to win. So kind of what Drew's point is they have to do a lot of things right. They have not been doing many things right. So yeah, I definitely think they can win game 5. Game 6, that's a big fat we'll see.
One of our commenters on our first video here for the series called out Knicks in 6. So hopefully that does not come true, but that could be a possibility. But it does bring up, Drew, I'll ask you one thing here. Tougher comeback here. Cavs 3-1 comeback against the Warriors to win the championship, or are you less confident in coming back against the Knicks with how cold this offense has been at times?
I was significantly less confident in beating the 73-win superstar Golden State Warriors and then making their players go cry in a parking lot and get on a conference call in tears to Kevin Durant, asking them to please come save our team. That I had much less confidence in that happening than coming back to beat the 5 seed New York Knicks when all you have to do is beat them in one game at home, right? They had 2 games in Oakland against that legendary second best 72 or 73 win team of all time. You're welcome, Michael Jordan stands, by the way. So no, I had significantly fewer expectations of coming back and beating that Warriors team, and they did. Right now, granted, they had the greatest player of all time. They had the GOAT playing for them, and he took over and played like the greatest player of all time, bar none. And so, I'm not going to hold Donovan Mitchell to that standard, but that has to be the type of guy that he is for these next 3 games. He can't get angry. He can't get down on the rest of his teammates, right? He has to be that dude. And that's why they traded for him, right? We'll see what he's capable of. I'm not going to put the whole series on him. He's still their best player. He's still their reason for optimism at a championship. So I'm not going to blame him for a loss. All I'm saying is that he has to be the guy that carries them the same way LeBron was the guy that carried that team.
So there's a chance. Eric, what do you think what is the weakness with the Knicks? What do you latch on to with the Knicks that say, the Knicks aren't that great? They aren't the Golden State Warriors. There is a chance here. What do you think about the Knicks and how they do crumble?
Well, as you can tell with all these low-scoring games, they're not good scoring teams. As we had kind of discussed before the series started, they're great at rebounding, so they're good at getting the ball close to the hoop after missing it and putting it back in, or getting fouled and scoring 2 free throws. But shooting wise, they're obviously nowhere near some of the upper echelon teams in scoring. So if the Cavs can limit their possessions to 1 attempt, or it would be great, would be 0 if we could somehow force those turnovers, then hopefully they can get their offense going and get that lead and kind of put the pressure on the Knicks. So, can't have Brunson or anybody get hot for them. That's pretty much the mindset that's got to be. We were the number 1 defense coming in the playoffs, so you got to keep that momentum continuing, and then offensively you got to work your magic and kind of get those points. And a lot of these games, probably every game outside of game 2, they've been had a pretty sizable deficit throughout the contest, so they've been using a lot of that energy just to get back in a game. So if you can get out to that early lead, make them play catch up, and having to score those multiple points would be a big detriment for them. So I would hope that would be the game plan for the Cavs each of the final, hopefully, 3 games.
We need a frigid orange Julius Randle in game 5 here. All right, well, let's see. You got to win the first one to get to 6 and 7. So let's go Cavs. Let's see what happens Wednesday night.
Go Cavs.